Good afternoon, you guys. Meet Holy, my new household member. He's named after my favorite Hindu festival, the Holi festival. It's a spring festival about new beginnings. I just love all the colors and the symbolism of everything. But anyways, my name is Lisa Kidd. I'm the owner of Glamtique Studio. And I'm also the founder of Peace Community Events. I am here today, though, with a message from Spirit, okay? I do tarot readings, I do channeled messages, and me and Spirit have been getting along the past few days, and I have quite a few messages to deliver, and I'll be uploading them one by one. One by one. No, seriously. The first message that we're going to talk about today, Spirit wanted to talk about manifesting with you all. We've been talking about discernment, using our discernment, and we're going to talk today about manifesting. There's a few things that we all need when we're manifesting, okay? I'm going to basically give you a quick rundown on how to be a master manifester real quick. There's another video that I did that talks about how you manifest and certain things that kind of have to be in alignment with manifestation and when you're manifesting, right? So you can watch that video. We're not going to go over those same things, okay? But we're going to go over a few new things that Spirit has put out in my mind. And I think I'm going to tell a little story, do a little story time first about manifesting. And how I truly learned what manifesting was and how to manifest. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to tell the story first because through the story, it kind of gives you guys an idea of the topics that I'm going to talk about at the end. Okay. So the story is of my life, how I learned to manifest, the rise and fall of the kid, and the rise again, all through manifesting. Okay, so when I was younger, I was a master manifester on accident. I used to manifest the hell out of some shit. I was never a $40 bitch, okay? I was always a few hundred and up. And that was okay. I never had a problem getting anything I asked for. I never had a problem receiving anything from the universe that I wanted. If it was a pair of boots that I said I wanted, I was going to wind up getting them. Whether I bought them or someone else bought them, the money was going to be there. Mind you, at that time in my age, I didn't have any real bills. I didn't have any problems. All I knew was good vibrations and love and receiving and giving my time when I needed to and receiving. So I would work 2 or 3 jobs at a time. So there was always a constant flow or a way for Spirit to give me money and to give me blessings and to give me things. I was always out. So I was always meeting people, right? So Spirit was always able to put those people into my life that were to help with what I needed. He's a big baby. He's not even a big baby. He's a little baby. So I was always able to receive those things. I was always in a good mood, so there was never any of those bad vibes like going out. Okay. Let's see what else. Yeah, those are pretty much some of the basis of my younger days. Like I said, I just knew, I didn't know lack at the time, so that wasn't a problem for me. Multitasking, you guys. So Spirit says when you're manifesting, also we're going to just start off with this. Spirit says right now, don't get distracted when you're manifesting just because things aren't going as you planned or things aren't going like in the motion that you planned for it to go, and you might have to wait or redo some things. Don't get distracted and be like, oh, it's not coming, it's not going to work. It's still coming. Okay? Sometimes stuff in the universe has to shift so it can come. And this is why I did this video today, so you don't mess up on the manifestations that you have coming by those fear of lack and things like that you had in the past, okay? So, anyways, back to my story. When I was young, I was a master manifester, okay? I just used to receive. I stayed in my femininity. I also stayed in my masculinity. I worked. I did all of that, okay? So, not me here. Not the book here. Holy. Okay. So, then I grew up and I got with my ex, and we went through some very hard times for about 6 years, and I learned lack, and I learned what not having was, and I learned what fear was, and oh my God, I won't have enough money for these bills. And it was so easy to turn on lack, right? Because you're still trying to be a consumer. But it's like, damn, this is real shit I'm going through right now. And it was so easy to become hyper focused on the bad instead of thinking any more on the good, or the good things that were still happening in my life. Because it's not like there were only bad things happening. No, there were good things happening too. It was just that that's what I was focused on, was that bad. Okay. Because of that, I started manifesting the opposite. I was manifesting through my fears. So I was losing things left and right. I could never get money if I asked anyone. It was just a really bad 6 years, right? It was just like, whew. And it was so easy to stay down there. It was so hard to change my vibration back around. Until I learned perception one day, right? And I learned about the, ow, he just scratched me. The reticular activating system is what they call it. And it's basically how we view life. It's basically how we view life. And we are the ones that train ourselves for this. Okay, so what I learned was that we train ourselves what to view. So we train ourselves whether to view the good or the bad. He's a baby and he's busy. Okay, you guys. So we train ourselves literally to see the good or the bad. And I learned how to turn that around, that manifestation around, because I said, okay, just like I can put that bad on display and what's happening bad, put that up on display, I can do the same thing with the good. And so that's how I turned it around, and that's how I started manifesting again. Okay. And because I knew that it's not an overnight process, I know this now. I said, okay, so even when I get just a little good, that's still a part of my manifestations. And if you don't recognize that, or if you don't have that in your head, then you won't recognize them when those good things come around for you, because you'll be thinking like, oh, and this is the thing with like vision boards and manifesting, you only look at the big end, like, oh, the perfect body at the end, or things like that. You don't look at the process along the way of having that big, huge business. It's going to be a couple of small businesses in between. Okay, it's going to be a couple of losses or things in between, and a couple of growths in between. You're not going to, before you just get to this big, huge area where you're like a CEO, it's not going to happen that way. But if you don't recognize your manifestations, you won't even recognize that, and you'll dismiss it. And this is why we have to show gratitude and be thankful along our journey, because each step is a step to that manifestation, to that big house. This small apartment that you're in now is a step to that big house that you're going to get at the end that you're wishing for. So you have to be thankful for where you're at. You have to take care of your home and take care of your pride and other things that you have now, and show gratitude for that, because it was probably just a year ago when you were begging and crying for that. You received it, and then it's like, oh, it's not enough. Oh, I want this now. Well, Spirit's like, no, you're going to be thankful and you're going to show gratitude for this, and see what we're building along the way. Okay, so a few things that you're going to need when you're manifesting. I took some notes, you guys, when I was channeling. One, let's get into cleaning and letting go. Okay, you cannot manifest your future while you're still trying to hold on to your past. You just simply can't. I mean, of course, certain things are going to go with you, but there's certain things also that cannot. There's certain people that cannot, and you know this, but yet you're steadily putting out these manifestations for the future, but you know that these people can't go with you, but you haven't cut them off yet. You know that these things or these places or these memories can't go with you, but you haven't released them yet. You haven't let them go. You haven't done a cleansing of yourself yet, to allow room, to allow space for that new growth. So how do you expect for the new or the bigger to come into your life when you're not taking care of what it is that you already have, when you're not cleaning up from what you already have to make sure that this stays intact here. You cannot. Okay, you have to be able to let go. And in places of expansion and growth, when you want things to enter your life, you have to allow room, right? Like they say, one closed door opens another. Sometimes you're shutting these doors so you can move through this other door. Sometimes Spirit's like, I'm not opening this door because that shit can't come in here. You can. You're cool. You're working, you're good, but that other stuff that's following you or that's just latching onto you can't come through with you, and you refuse to let it go. So you don't want this for real. That's what you tell the universe. Okay? Also, like I said, showing gratitude, showing being grateful for where you're at. If you're asking Spirit for if you ask Spirit and beg for this place that you have, and now it's like you're keeping it trash, or you're just like not being appreciative, but you're like, oh, I want this in the future. I want this house tomorrow. I want this. It's not coming because you're not being grateful for where you're at. You're really being ungrateful, like keep asking, oh, like the people that get the car. And then you get that car and then it's like, oh, well, I want a truck. Well, did you even enjoy your car for a minute? Because that car is part of the process of you getting to that truck or you getting to where you're at. Yeah, it's true. There's some overnight stories. Okay, I'm not saying that, but that's the exception to the rule. The rule normally is that you have to work for it, that you have to put in the work, that you have to show the thanks and the gratitude for it, okay? And then you get those payouts. It's just how it works. Okay, what you put in the work towards is how it works. You don't just paste it on the board and be like, ooh, I'm going to have this big house. Ooh, I'm going to have this business. Ooh, I'm going to have this big car. Ooh, I'm going to have $1 million. No, you have to have $100,000 first. You got to have $10,000 first. You got to have $5,000 first. Then you get to 10,000. Then you get to 100,000. Then you get to your million. Okay, it's steps. But that doesn't mean that you don't be appreciative when you're at the 5 or the 1. No, you say thank you because just a day ago you didn't have that. You appreciate that. You show gratitude. You say thank you for the $1 million that you're gonna get because you know it's on the way. And if you truly know how to manifest, you can recognize this, and you'll recognize it as you're growing. You'll recognize it through that growth. When you're at that 1,000 and when you get to that 10,000, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is me on my way to that $1 million. But if you're not using discernment or in your right mind, you're gonna be like, I asked for $1 million and I only got 10,000. And Spirit's like, well, bitch, listen, be grateful. Be grateful. Okay. So use gratitude along the way. Another thing, like I said, discernment and wisdom. So you're not listening to that stupid ass voice that's in your head telling you not to be grateful for that 10,000. Okay. Cause that's just your lower entities and that ego. Oh, well, I want it. Okay, well, you got to wait till alignment, because true manifestation also knows that there's no timeline. It's not when, oh, I said in a month I'm going to have this, or in a year I'm going to have this. That's not how it works. Because what if you do have to go through 3 positions before you get there, and it takes you a few years, but you get there? Are you not going to be appreciative because it wasn't in the 1 year or wasn't in the 30 days? But yet each position you grew to a bigger and better until eventually, yes, you're CEO now. No, so you have to use discernment. You have to use wisdom and knowledge to know who you're around, what you're allowing, where your thoughts are, where your heart is, where other people that you're working with. Okay, so you can make sure that your manifestations are for your highest good. And it's not just coming from ego. Okay, it's not just I want this because she has it, or I want this because everyone else is doing it. And it's because it's with your soul, your body, your spirit. It's what you require to grow and what you need in your life. You need to be discerning on that. Okay, you also need patience because, like I said, Spirit does not work on our time. Like when I got my house, like I said, okay, so on my downfall, let's go back to my story. On my rise back up, if I didn't know that I was manifesting right now, I would be like, oh my God, I'm stuck, like I said, in this house. I'm doing this. But I can recognize it because I can recognize that 2 years ago, I was living with my roommate. Okay, let's take it back a step further from that. 4 years ago when I was leaving my ex, like, I'm going to get out of this situation. It sucks. Shit sucks here. I'm going to bet on myself now, you know, because I'm a shit and I've been on it. I'm going to bet on myself. Okay, I manifested a place because I didn't want to be with him or his family anymore. Was it like the main thing I wanted as a grown-ass woman living with someone else? No. Was it a blessing? Hell yes. Was I thankful? Of fucking course. I was very grateful for that 2 years that I could live with someone so that I could build on my manifestations, because I knew they weren't going to take overnight, because I didn't get broke and get to that point overnight. Right? We were talking about 6 to 8 years dealing with this person and allowing myself to fall down. So it was going to take some grit and some muscle to get back up. And over those 2 years, what did I do? Fixed my credit, worked on things, paid off student loans, you know, and was grateful that I only had to pay $250 in rent. And I could pay my $250 in storage to keep my things in storage. I was grateful that my bills were so low that I could spend the money to build myself back up instead of crying about me being in this position, living in someone else's home. Because why? This was part of my manifestation. It may not seem big to some, but not all manifestation has to be big. It's what you need, like I said, okay? So on this way back up, then finally, eventually, I was able, after 2 years, paying things off, to get my own place. Had I not known that this was part of my manifestation, I would be a bitch here. I would be ungrateful here. Oh, I have a 1-bedroom. I want my condo. I want this. I want that. I want my crystal bathtub. I could be thinking like that. But I know that this is part of my manifestation because what? I was lucky enough to find a place that I could, because I don't drive right now, my license, that's something else, another story. But anyways, I was grateful that I was able to find a place that's big enough for me because I didn't want anything big. That was part of my manifestation. I just want a little 1-bedroom, just something easy I can take care of. I got that. Perfect. It even had a freaking altar in here for me, you guys. Like super perfect, like built in the wall. Like, oh, there's my ancestor altar. I knew walking in the door. You know, it was growing sage outside. Oh, this is my home. Perfect for me. Oh my God, it has a fucking basement. This is my boutique. I asked for a boutique. Here it goes. Some would be like, oh, I want a brick and mortar. I want my own location. And that's great. And of course, eventually everybody does. That's my dream too. But I'm grateful along the way, and I'm so thankful that with me not driving, I can literally walk downstairs and run my business. That I'm in a central location that people can reach me and that they don't mind driving to me from all over. I have clients some come from 20, 30 minutes away to see me. Okay, and I even have them in other states. But I'm just saying, I'm grateful that I actually have a place where I can work my workings. I can work my magic in peace. I can be at peace of mind in my own space. And I'm grateful because this is part of my manifestation. Because it's not a journey. I mean, it's not a destination. It's the journey that you're grateful for along the way. Okay, when you're manifesting things, like I said, when you vision board and things, that's great. You put the, it's great. You put the whole, what is it called? You know, you do your whole vision boarding and things, and you put the house up there, you put the body up there, you put all the end results up there, but do not lack on your journey, because thanking and being grateful along the way is what's going to get you to that board. Okay? And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful every day. And that's one really big thing. You know, show yourself congratulations along the way. I have to congratulate myself because not only did I do those things, as far as with my home, I was also able to quit my job. I was also able to start not one, but 2 businesses now that both are doing fairly well, right? So, and I'm not going to say fairly well, very well. Like, I'm going to say they're both doing very well. The growth for both over just 2 years' time. And this new one is only over 2 months' time. Like, the growth is exponential. Like, I can see where it's going. And it's nothing but part of my manifestation of what I want for my businesses and my company. Okay, but it's not going to just wake up and be a huge company. No, it's going to be starting small sects here and there and putting everything together, and it's going to grow, and then starting to build my network and building my team and people and things like that, right? So, but I can see that. And so I'm appreciative on the way, and I'm going to give myself praise along the way too. I'm going to high five myself and cheers myself along on the way. I'm not going to wait till I get to the house or to the vision board. No. And that's why a lot of people give up on their manifestations, because you're waiting for this big to do. And it's like, Spirit's like, we're giving it to you, but we got to do it a little smaller. You know, it's okay to dream big, but we're going to work it out in these macro goals, because we got to get you to this step, you know, unless we can put you in alignment where you meet up with the right person at the right timing and boom. Like I said, that's an exception to that rule though. Okay. So besides that, Spirit want me to also talk to you guys about giving up on your manifestations and your dreams because you're not reaching it. Why do we do that? When you give up on your dreams, I will tell you the reason why I had to go back after my dreams and was like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job, which I got fired. I didn't quit. I made them fire me, though. I didn't get fired. Like, they fired me. It was for attendance, you guys. And I showed up late every day on purpose, so they would fire me. Anyways, I know it might have been a little wrong, but I wanted unemployment. Okay? I had a plan, because you have to have a plan. We're going to go back to the wounds of regret. You have to have a plan. Okay, when manifesting. So my plan was to get fired, get on unemployment, and use that to start my business for a little while. And that's what I did. Okay, it was a loose plan. You don't have to have it all written down. Like, I mean, write it down, but you don't have to have it all tight. Like, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. This is going to happen then. No, you have to have a plan of like, I know where I'm going. This is the big goal. This is the big goal. This is the big house. This is the big business. This is the body. This is the big goal. But this month I'm going to work on it by doing 10 pounds. This month I'm going to work on it by putting 5,000 up into the bank. This month I'm going to work on it by putting this over here. Right. So you have that loose plan so that Spirit can work with it too. The universe can work with it too. Like, okay, well, we can fit in and do this right here. Boom, boom. So you have a plan, because you have to know where you're going. You have to know what you're praying for and what you're even asking for. Okay. A lot of people want to just pray for money and the blessings. No, how about you pray to build that business up? Okay. Pray for the clientele. Pray for the customers. Pray for the people to trust in you, to receive that advice or to receive those services from you, for them to want to come back and be repeat customers. Pray for those things. Okay, so like I said, the plan. Now back to giving up. You don't want to give up on your dreams. This is why I had to go back out after my dreams, because with my ex, I was like, you know what? This can't be my life. It's not that he was a bad person, you guys, so don't let me make it seem like that, because we both just have our journeys and our things. But that wasn't a life for me. I wasn't going to be happy in that life forever, and I knew it. And if I would have stayed with him by 50, if that long, okay, because I was already a bitchy bitch nagging. So if by 50, though, I would have literally been like running that man away, okay? And I was like, he's going to hate me. We're going to set up resentment in each other, and I'm not going to do that to either one of us. So I'm going to walk away, and that's what I chose to do, because I didn't want to set up that resentment like, oh, I gave up on my life to be with you type shit, you know? No. I went off and followed my own dreams, because I'm only responsible and can only control me, my body, and what I can do. But I knew if I would have stayed with him, I would have regretted. I would have regretted myself for not following my dreams. A creative, a true person that knows their path and their wisdom, they cannot give up on that. You cannot ask them to. Okay? It will literally set up, like I said, wounds of regret and things like that, of what I should have done, what I could have done. Like I told my friends, yeah, I'm quitting my job and going to follow my dreams. So what? And if I don't make it in 5 years, I can still go back to nursing school and be a nurse and be at the same age as the rest of y'all, making the same amount of money in a year. So, I'm cool. That'll be my plan B. This is my plan A at this point. Okay, I've already tried this other shit for years. I can't hold down a job. I was never like, I could never stay at a job for long enough, because that wasn't for me. You know, and no, I'm not where I want to be at my business, but the fact that I can make a living to take care of myself is enough. because that's all I was doing at my job, was making enough, being a slave to someone else to take care of myself. So in my mind, for my dream, that was enough. And I'm not downing anybody that has a regular job and that's working a regular job. If that's for you, then that's for you. And you know that. And you might not have a problem holding down a job like I did, right? But for me, it was not for me. So it was really, it'll set up those wounds of sorrow and regret in your life. And you won't have proper relationships and things with that weighing on your conscience. So don't give up on your manifestations, y'all, just because you're not getting to where you feel you need to be quick enough. Because sometimes the bigger the dream, the longer it might take, or the more things that you might have to do to put things together, okay? Also, so yeah, allowing time, allowing that space, not having that timeline. And like I said, it's a brief, you can have goals and be like, okay, well, by June, I want to have this done. By this time, I want to have this done. But when it comes to like the big house and stuff, don't be like, oh, I have to have that by next year. Unless you can definitely plan it out to make it that way, then by all means do it. But when you're asking Spirit to put you in alignment with your best purpose, excuse me, you guys, your highest self, things like that of that nature, it pays you no mind to be like, oh, I need it by such and such. Allow Spirit to really have that grace, especially when it comes to people. A lot of us, I was looking for my tea. I guess I left it in there. I'll get some in a minute. We're almost done. Oh, I got my water here. Thank goodness. But my mouth is dry. A lot of us want to, I want to be in love. I want to find a perfect mate. I want to find somebody that loves me. But you're not willing to wait. You go after the next person that you see and don't use discernment. So you're not manifesting that proper person. That's not him. That's who you chose. That's not who the universe chose to send to you. That's not who Spirit had you aligned with. That's who you chose out of desperation because you was rushing things. Right? That's why that manifestation didn't work in year 2. And you're like, damn, how did I wind up in the same shitty situation again? Because you didn't choose to use the discernment or be patient for your manifestation to come through. You gave up on it. You see how all this stuff works in a line? The last thing, and this ain't really the last thing, this is probably like one of the first things that you need to do when you're manifesting. You've got to become like a genius at visualization. So like imagining yourself there already, to believe into the point where people think you crazy, being the type of person that literally talks about it in advance. Like, oh no, my company, what small business? My corporate America, my big business. You got to talk that in advance. You got to imagine yourself in that corporate office. Close your eyes. Picture yourself running a boardroom full of people. Imagine the company trips and things that you're going to take. Imagine the type of boss you will be. Imagine the vacations. Imagine you sitting in your new home and washing in that new crystal bathtub. Imagine that new car in your driveway. Imagine you pulling off in that new car in your driveway. Imagine you going around town picking up your girlfriends and eating, going out in your new car. Because the mind can't perceive what's real and what's not. All it knows is that when you're imagining those things, you start feeling good. Okay? And you start putting yourself on that vibration to receive. Just the same way as if you sit and say to yourself, oh, I can't have that. I'll never get that. I'll do that, and blah, blah, blah. And you start feeling bad. You start feeling down. And guess what? You'll never get it. You'll never receive it. Because that's what you put out there, because you don't get what you wish for. You get what you expect. And you expected nothing. You expected and said that you was not worthy. Okay? So, those are pretty much the steps in part 2 to manifesting. I don't know, we might do a part 3 one day, depending on how Spirit feels, because it's been about a year since I did part 1. All right, you guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you some as you're manifesting. Like I said, do not give up on those dreams. Enjoy the journey along the way. Sit down as an exercise possibly and write out exactly what it is that you the things that you've been accomplishing and that you're grateful for, and congratulate yourself and celebrate yourself along the way. If you like this video, if it resonates with you, mark it down below. Please hit the notification button so you don't miss any more. Also, like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love you all. Have a blessed day, my loves.